Hi guys, welcome back to the Home and Homestead. My name is Rebecca, and today we're going to be making some Asian inspired kitchen staples. Sometimes you're just really hungry for an Asian inspired appetizer or meal, and you gravitate towards that takeout menu to order some of those favorite items, but I thought today I'd show you how you can make some of them yourself at home. Wonton wrappers work great as an appetizer to put some of your favorite fillings in that you would typically order takeout, or you can cut them into strips and put them on top of salads or as garnishes for certain entrees. You can also make wonton soup. This is a really great kitchen staple, so follow along and see how we make it together. Alright, so for our homemade wonton wrappers, we're going to be making them in the stand mixer. So in the stand mixer mixing bowl, I will add 2 cups of flour, and that's an all-purpose flour, as well as a ½ teaspoon of salt. And I mix that together into this bowl. And now I'm going to add a ½ cup of water, and this is warm water. I have the dough hook attachment on here. I'm just going to stir these together on a low setting just till the water is absorbed into that flour. Okay, the water is incorporated into the flour. Now I'm going to turn this up to a medium-high speed, and we're going to knead this for about 2 minutes until we get a nice dough ball to form. Alright, our dough has come together into kind of a shaggy dough ball. You can add anywhere between a ½ cup to 3/4 of a cup of water to reach this point. Just depends on the moisture content of your flour and your environment. So now let's move over to the work surface. We'll move on to the next step. Okay, so now on a lightly floured work surface, we're going to add our wonton wrapper dough that we prepared in the stand mixer, and we're just going to knead it a little bit just until it becomes a little bit smoother. It's kind of a shaggy, chunky dough right now. Okay, so it's a little bit smoother on the surface now. So now what we're going to do is place the wonton wrapper dough in a little bowl. I like to cover it with a damp towel and then cover it. And we're going to let this rest for about 45 minutes. And that'll give the gluten in the flour a chance to relax a little bit. And that'll make this a little more workable for when we roll them out to make our wonton wrappers. So we'll just set this aside and let that dough rest. Alright, so our wonton wrapper dough has been resting for about 45 minutes. We can remove it from the little bowl here. I'm going to lightly dust the surface with some corn starch. So when you're rolling out your wonton wrappers, the cornstarch really helps prevent the finished product from sticking to one another. So first what I'm going to do is just roll it out to kind of a long rope shape. The dough is much more pliable and soft and easier to work with. So now you just simply cut the wonton wrapper dough into the portions that you'd like. So I go for about the size of, say, a golf ball. Just simply roll them into more of a ball shape. If you want rounded wonton wrapper shaped end result. If you want a square, keep it more of a square shape. Now we're just going to simply roll these out till they're nice and thin. Nearly translucent works really well. If you're making a really large batch, or if you don't feel like rolling out, you can use your KitchenAid stand mixer with the pasta making attachments or a hand crank pasta maker rolling machine. This wonton wrapper dough works really nicely for sweet crab rangoons. You can check out my video on my recipe for that. It also works really nicely for steamed dumplings. So once you have it nice and rolled out and thin, you can put it into a Pyrex bowl with a cover such as the dough rested in, or a Tortilla Keeper works really well too. And that helps keep the wrappers from drying out. So this one I'm going to keep more in a square shape. Square-ish. What's kind of nice about homemade things such as these wonton wrappers is you make whatever size and shape you want. Eventually they're going to be folded into a dumpling or a wonton or a spring roll or whatever you're trying to create, or even cut into strips to put over a salad or an entree as a garnish. You can also make some wonton soup. If you'd like a really perfectly shaped wonton wrapper, you can certainly leave the dough whole and roll it out into a big shape and then cut with a cookie cutter or a bench scraper into whatever shape you'd like. So I'm going to finish rolling these out here. Alright, so I have all the wonton wrapper dough rolled out, and I have a number of round wonton wrappers. These would be great for appetizers, either crab rangoons, spring rolls, maybe a nice steamed dumpling. I made some square ones. Those would be nice for the same thing. You can also roll them up more like a rectangular shape, almost like a burrito, and make some crabby spring rolls or something like that using some crab rangoon filling. And I also made some strips. And these would be nice as a garnish on top of a soup or salad. You can also make some wonton soup. So let me put these onto a plate and we'll take a closer look at our finished homemade wonton wrappers. Okay guys, here we have our homemade wonton wrappers. We have square ones, round ones, and strips. These would be great for appetizers such as egg rolls, steamed dumplings, as well as some homemade sweet crab rangoons. You can check out my video on that if you're interested on my take of the crab rangoon appetizer. These strips would be great on top of salads or as a garnish on an entree such as the deconstructed egg roll that I made. You can check out my recipe on that as well. And of course you can make some nice soup such as wonton soup. Now these homemade wonton wrappers, if I'm planning to use them right away, I will store them in my Tortilla Keeper and put them in the refrigerator until I'm ready to make my recipe. If I want to store these longer term, these store very nicely in the freezer. You just simply wrap up a stack of the wonton wrappers in a cling wrap and then put them in another layer of protection such as a zip top bag or an airtight container, and these freeze nicely. Just make sure that you have some cornstarch between the different wonton wrappers so that they don't stick together. So if you'd like some more inspiration on some Asian inspired kitchen staples, appetizers, or entrees, you can check out some other videos I have, such as the ones I just mentioned, as well as some sweet and sour sauce that I make 2 different ways. So I make a sweet and sour chili sauce, as well as a restaurant style sweet and sour sauce like you'd get from takeout. But if you're new to the channel or haven't done so yet, I would really appreciate you subscribing. If you enjoyed this video, check out some other videos I have, and be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Well, I hope you're having a wonderful day. See you next time. Take care.